So there are two different ways that we are showing you Bannock today. One is in the oven and the other is over the fire. The over the fire is the more traditional way, as we didn't have ovens back in the old days, but now we do, and so ovens is the more contemporary way. And so thankfully we have family members and community members in our nation that can do both. So please enjoy.
Tanse, my name is Jess Croucher. I'm Nehia Esquil from Fort McMurray 468 First Nation, and we're going to learn how to make bannock over the fire today. So first you get your supplies, you get your bannock bowl, your wooden spoon. The rule of thumb with your bowl is to make sure it's big enough to fit a baby in, because if you're lucky, your cooking will give you a bath in there when you're a baby. This little wooden spoon. Mixing. We'll use flour today, lard, baking powder, and salt. This recipe is an adaptation of two recipes. One being from my lovely friend Claire Antoine, who makes the best traditional bannock, and also from my mother-in-law Sue Gowdy, who makes a family recipe called pastry, and actually comes from her Scottish roots. It's really interesting because if you read up on bannock, it was actually adapted from the Scottish. So we'll start with our flour. We're going to use 3 cups of flour. We're just going to kind of eyeball it with my mason jar here. My mom says if you need a recipe to make bannock, then you're probably not good at making it. So we'll do 2.5 cups at first. We'll add about 1.5 tablespoons of baking powder. And, oh, I don't know, half a teaspoon of salt, I guess. And you mix all your dry ingredients up. Alright, next we're going to add our lard. People use shortening, butter, margarine, but traditional would be using lard. Throw about half a cup in there. And just use your hands to mix it up. You want to make it nice and mealy. So now that we got it nice and mealy, kind of a crumblier texture, you're going to add 2 cups of water. Just get in there. So it's going to look runny at first. You just want to make sure you're getting that stirred up. And now we're going to add our last bit of flour. Okay, if you find it's a little too runny still, we just keep adding flour until we get the nice texture. You don't want it sticky, then it'll fall apart on you in the fire. Okay, we're ready to wrap it on a stick. our bannock on the stick, all done. It's nice and puffed up, golden. You got a couple little crispy spots. It's good to slow cook it over the coals. It can take, you know, sometimes up to like 10 minutes if you're going nice and slow. And then we take it off and eat it with some jam, blueberry jam if you're lucky, raspberry, or if we fried it, sometimes we even put cinnamon sugar and syrup on top of it. So delicious.
Tanse. My name is Karen. I'm from the Fort McMurray First Nation. Today we're going to be making some bannock. There's all different kinds of ways to make bannock. I use some flour and baking powder, salt, oil. A lot of people use bacon grease or lard. I use sugar. I also use an egg. I use powder milk and about 6 cups of water, lukewarm water. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put, just take your ordinary cup from your kitchen, put in 6 cups of flour. You don't have to measure, it can be just any old way. So you put 6, 2, then you take your baking powder. And I have a plastic spoon in here, so you put about 4, like so. 2, 3, a big one, 4. Then you'll take a teaspoon of salt. And I just measure in my hand, like just a little amount of salt like that. So throw that in. Then I'll take sugar. Some people don't put sugar, but I do. I put 2 tablespoons of sugar. So I use a whisk to mix it, and it mixes really well, and then you don't have big air bubbles in your bannock, so you mix it really good. I'll break my egg. And I'm going to beat that egg. I use powder milk for my bannock, so I use about a cup to 1 cup of powder milk to about 6 cups of water. You should be neither hot nor cold. It should be like lukewarm. So I've had this out for a while. So first of all, you're going to make a little hole in the middle. You throw your egg in there. A 1/4 cup of oil. And it could be any kind of oil. You can use peanut oil, you can use Crisco oil, you can use anything. You can use, another thing that people can use is melted bacon grease. Just keep it to room temperature. Then you add your 6 cups of water in there. Milk. And I just start mixing from the center. Here's your dough. So you got like a shaggy dough, I call it. See, it's nice and soft. You don't want it to be hard. Dump this out here. Some people knead their bannock right in the bowl, but I don't. Then you start kneading your bannock and just gently flip it over like this. Keep moving it so it doesn't stick to the cupboard, and you'll see it'll start to come together because it's quite soft, right? So just keep your hands floured. It'll begin to take shape now. So there's your bannock. Now you're going to take your pan, put your oven on 400 degrees. You're going to pat your bannock down. You get a nice oval shape. Fork, and you just 11 holes. That's it. You just put it in the oven and let it bake for, I bake mine about half an hour. One time for Taste of Saskatchewan, I made 200 bannocks in a few days. We cooked them at the Friendship Center where we could cook 6 bannocks at a time. So we made 200 bannocks and we sold every bannock for $20 each, $4,000.
Wow.
Everybody was crazy. We made raisin bannock, we made cranberry bannock, we made cinnamon and raisin bannock, and we made blueberry bannock. The ways are endless. You can make all kinds of bannock. Here's a nice brown bannock. So while it's still hot, we'll put some butter on it. Shine it up.